There you go. Welcome, everyone, to the December 5th, 2024 Subdivision and Utility Advisory Committee. I'll call the meeting to order and ask for opening announcements, please.
Before we begin the agenda, the Wichita-Sedgwick County Metropolitan Area Planning Commission would like to take this opportunity to welcome everyone to this public hearing. Copies of the agenda for today's meeting, the public hearing procedure, and Planning Department staff reports on all agenda items are available on the counter in the lobby. The Planning Commission's bylaws limit the applicant of a subdivision application and his or her representatives to a total of 10 minutes of speaking time at the start of the hearing on that item, plus up to 2 minutes at the conclusion of that hearing. All other persons wishing to speak on agenda items are limited to 3 minutes per person. However, if they feel that it is needed and justified, the Commission may extend these times by a majority vote. All speakers are requested to state his or her name and address for the record when beginning to speak. When you are finished speaking, please share your name, address, and the case number on the sheet provided in the room. This will enable staff to notify you if there are any additional proceedings concerning that item. All speakers at the podium, please remove your face mask before speaking into the microphone.
Call for roll call, please.
Yes, sir. Bill Johnson.
Present.
Tony Zimbelman.
Here.
Bob Duell.
Here.
Jocelyn Klontz. Here. Josh Blick is absent. Leon Mader is absent. John Williams Bay. Here. Sir, I show there are 5 members present, 2 absent, and I do not see either of the alternates.
Okay, thank you. Move on to our first case today. Before we hear the staff presentation, is the applicant or agent available for the first? This would be vacation request 2024-51. Yeah. Okay. It is a request to vacate the north 40 feet of the building setback along Wilshire Terrace on property zone single family 5. It's located 130 mile east of South Greenwich Road and 1/3 mile north of East Harry Street. And the address is 1046 South Bedford Terrace. May we have the staff report?
Yes, good morning, Subdivision Committee. Philip Zevenbergen with planning staff. The applicant is requesting to vacate the north portion of a platted 40-foot building setback along a portion of the Wilshire Terrace, Lot 9, Block 7. And again, that was 1046 South Bedford Terrace. If approved, it would reduce the platted setback to the required 6-foot interior side setback that's established in SF5. You want to go to the aerial photo, please? The purpose of the vacation is to allow, actually let's go to the site plan, that's pretty far out. The purpose of the vacation is to allow for an addition to be constructed on the north portion of the existing home. The existing structure currently abuts or is within a few feet of the platted setback. Essentially, this platted setback was there when a proposed right-of-way was going to go through here, and that was vacated not long after the subdivision plat was platted. I think because this area over here was actually replatted and there wasn't actually going to be a connection through. But when the right-of-way was vacated, the setback was not vacated with it. So you ended up having a interior side setback with a 40-foot platted setback, anticipating at some point a road was going to go in, and things just changed. So essentially, this is cleaning up the ability for this property to function and have development standards with a standard interior side setback for zoning, and not a platted 40-foot setback that was there with the anticipation of a road going through. Public Works and Utilities, Traffic Engineering, Fire, they do not object. Utilities, franchise utilities do not have any objections. Cox is a buried line on the east edge of the vacation area. Any relocation would only be if there would be any conflict with the building, construction of the building going over top of it, but we can provide contact information and the applicant can work with Cox regarding the location of that line. We have not heard any public comment regarding this, and I can stand for any questions.
Questions from the commission? For the staff? Seeing none. Comments from the advisory board?
Rondi with Evergy, 4025 North Tobin. We have no comment. We have nothing in the area. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, we'll call on the applicant or agent. You'll have 10 minutes. Please state your name and your address.
My name is Emily Metman. My address is 1046 South Bedford Terrace.
Okay.
We're just planning on doing an addition to the house that's currently there.
All right. Are there any questions for the, I guess you're the applicant?
Yes.
Yes, Bill Johnson.
Do you agree with staff comments?
I'm sorry?
Do you agree with staff comments?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on this case? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the
Mr.
commission.
Chairman, I move to approve for staff comments.
Second. I have a motion and a second to approve this. Is there any additional comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. Our second case today will be vacation request 2024-52. This is a request to vacate platted access control along property zoned planned unit development. Located on the south side of West MacArthur Boulevard and west of South Meridian Avenue, the address is 2611 West MacArthur. Is the applicant or agent available today? Okay, thanks. We'll have the staff report.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I need to abstain from this item.
Okay, let the record show that Commissioner Johnson has abstained.
Yes, again, good morning. Philip Zevenbergen for the record. For vacation 2452, the applicant is requesting to vacate a portion to complete access control along West MacArthur Avenue at a property located at 2611 West MacArthur. The purpose of the requested vacation is to allow new drive approach for an existing truck dock. Access to the site is currently consists of a joint access easement located along the western portion of the property. With the existing parking in front of the existing building, the location of existing access drives does not allow for trucks to efficiently access the truck dock located on the east side of the building. There are currently no driveways across West MacArthur from this subject area. I'm just going to note a correction we're going to make to the staff report just because it's like a sentence was started and then it actually was finished in the second paragraph regarding traffic engineering's comments. We'll get that fixed for the Planning Commission staff report next week. Apologize for that error. Wichita Traffic Engineering commented that the proposed access is 200 feet away from the joint access opening. One of the approaches would need to be a right-in, right-out only. Right-in, right-out approaches would need to be enforced by a pork chop median with a drive on a narrow median in MacArthur through a public paving process. And approaches must meet city access management standards. Regarding franchise utilities, we got an update from Evergy today. In your staff report, it talked about there'd be some conflict regarding some installation of a power pole. It sounds like the power pole is actually installed at this point, but Evergy talked to me this morning and said that they have worked with the agent regarding shifting the location of the drive away so it's not in conflict of the new line that went in. If this is approved, we would need to get a revised legal description for the area that is being vacated for the vacation order. I will let the applicant describe the proposed new location. We might need to get updated comment from traffic engineering regarding that as well. It would likely still need to be required to be a right-in, right-out access simply because it's still only 200 feet away and it actually might become closer to the joint access drive by shifting to accommodate Evergy. Kansas Gas and Electric commented that existing 70-foot KGS easement along West MacArthur will remain and is not part of the access and drives can be developed over top of these easements because they're not structures. We have not heard any public comment regarding this, and I can stand for any questions.
Okay, questions from the commission members? Seeing none, comments from the advisory committee?
Ronnie with Evergy. No, what Philip said is correct. We had just put in their equipment to serve this customer, and it seemed to be in conflict with where they were wanting to put their drive, but they've worked that out. So we'll just wait for a revised site plan to see where that's going to be.
Okay, thank you. Other comments? Call upon the applicant or agent. You'll have 10 minutes and state your name and address, please.
Kirk Miller, K.E. Miller Engineering, 117 East Louis. I'm the agent for the applicant. Evergy is putting their equipment right here, right on the lot lines, so they don't have the pole in yet. I think it's supposed to go in today. So we'll go out and get that tied in and make sure we have, we're far enough away from it with this drive to where we won't have any conflicts with it. Otherwise, we're fine with staff comments.
Okay. Questions for the applicant or agent from the commission members? Seeing none? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on this case? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the commission.
Move to approve for staff comments.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Williams Bay, second by Commissioner Klontz. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes 4-0 with one abstention. Case number 3 today will be, or I guess it's actually agenda item number 4. Vacation request 2024-53 to vacate the south 20 feet of a platted utility and drainage easement on property zoned planned unit development, generally located east of North Hillside Avenue and north of Kansas Highway 254. Before we have the staff report, is the applicant or agent available here? Okay, thank you. Staff report.
Again, for the record, Philip Zievenbergen with planning staff. For vacation 2453, the applicant proposes to vacate a portion of a 20-foot platted drainage and utility easement along the south line of Lot 7, Block C of the Falcon Falls 3rd Edition. The property is on planned unit development, PUD number 122, which allows 2-family residential development. And part of the planned unit development is that it allows 2 single-family dwellings to be built on one lot, separated by essentially building code standards, as opposed to possibly a duplex. So you have 2 dwelling units on one lot, but essentially you could split the dwelling units apart and have 2 single-family. The property is currently undeveloped. The applicant is looking to, as you can see on the proposed site plan, they are looking to do the 2 single-family design as I described, where they are separated by building code standards with 2 dwelling units on one lot. And so the southernmost dwelling unit would be the one encroaching into this drainage and utility easement. You can see on the screen that there is a sewer line that does utilize a utility easement as it goes to the east. This manhole is outside, so essentially all of the utilities are outside of this portion of the utility easement. City Public Works, Traffic Engineering, Fire do not object. Cox has no objection. They have no equipment in the area. Evergy has reviewed the vacation request and has no objection. They do have an issue with, they do not agree with vacating the 20-foot utility easement running along the east line of Lot 7, but I don't believe that one's in question here. It's only the drainage and utility easement along the south property line. We can get clarification on that from the applicant and Evergy. We have not heard any public comment regarding this, and I can stand for any questions.
Questions from the commission members for staff? Is there none? Comments from the advisory board?
Ronnie with Evergy. There is an easement along the east line of that same area, and we do not want that vacated. That's where we're bringing power into this new subdivision for them. We've already design the job. But we don't have any objection to the south line up to that point of that easement because we don't have anything in there yet. And so we're willing to accommodate from there.
Thank you. Other
And
comments?
if we could have I apologize, we can show it visually if we have the actual site plan in the show. This is drawn based on the legal description given to us. And if you look in your packet at the site plan, if we don't have this actual, you can see that it runs up to the easement line on the east side. And so it does not appear that any part of that easement on the east side of the property is part of the request. So I don't think there should be any conflict with Evergy's state comments.
Works for us then. Thank you.
No additional questions? We'll call on the applicant or agent. Have 10 minutes. Please state your name and address.
Jay Cook, Boffman Company, 315 South Ellis, agent on behalf of the applicant. Now, the utility easement on the east and west side, those will remain intact because all of the utilities are front-loaded on the lot. We had that in case Evergy or anyone needed to wrap around, but it appears as though most of the utilities are going to go in the front lot. So we won't touch that 20 feet on the east side or the 20 feet on the west. That'll all remain. All we're asking for is just what's in between those two on the south side. And I'll stand for any questions you may have.
Okay. Questions for the applicant or agent from the commission? Hearing none.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll make a motion. Oh, I'm sorry. Anyone from the public like to speak on this case? Seeing none, I'll make a motion to approve this.
Second.
Motion by Zimbelman, seconded by Commissioner Duell. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. We will now move into the subdivision portion of the meeting. Our first case is subdivision 2024-61, a preliminary plat for Barnhart Lake Edition, located at the northwest corner of East 101st Street North and North 63rd Street East.
Morning, Greg Sharon, planning staff here to represent the Barnhart Lake.
Excuse me, is the applicant or agent here before we get too far into this? Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
As stated, Greg Sharon, planning staff present Barnhart Lake Edition. If you go to the plat, please. This is for a 6-lot residential subdivision in the county. This preliminary plat may be kind of hard to see, but access controls with one 60-foot opening is proposed along 101st Street, and proposed lots 5 and 6 will be accessed off of 101st Street North via 50-foot egress easement. There are also complete access controls are provided along North 63rd Street East with 2 60-foot openings for access for the proposed lots 1 and 4. The lot 2 will be accessed from the North 63rd Street East through lot 3 via 50-foot egress easement. Go through the waivers. The applicant is requesting a waiver for depth to width ratio for proposed lots 4 and 5. Staff comments. MABCD site is located within rural water district number 1 and 2. If available and feasible, recommend to connection. If not, a memo would be needed and soil work will be needed before approval memo is issued. Item B, county stormwater management. This comment need to be revised. Drainage plan has been submitted and it appears like that will be approved within the next couple days, and the agent can further clarify that when he speaks. Item C, County Fire Department states all lots will need to comply with the County Fire Code. Item D, Public Works requests standard intersect approach right-of-way widths, tapers, and corner clip at the intersection. Access controls are approved. requests that access for lots 2 and 3 be combined into a single access point and advises the applicant shall guarantee closure with a driveway closure certificate. Item E, planning, some labels, dimension arrows, and zoning on an adjacent property. And the final plat will need to include platting of minimal building elevations. Item F, county surveyor needs corrections on bearings. And item G, Evergy has reviewed the preliminary plat and will need to request additional easements. There is existing underground line along the east line of the plat. We are waiting to place in a 10-foot easement, and then the same easement will extend north and back to the west to allow servicing all lots per the attached plat. This is a county plat, so no streetlight placement will be marked. With that, I stand for questions.
Here or not?
That's okay.
Why don't you just, can you just make the announcement?
We don't want that posted up on the big screen TV.
Okay, we good? Questions from the commission members? See none. Comments from the advisory board?
Rondi with Evergy. We'll send the plat to you, Matthew. I think what happened is I sent it to Mark. That's what happened. It picked up the wrong email address. Vicky looked it up for me. So I will make sure you get those additional easements.
Okay, any other comments? Call on the applicant or agent. Please state your name and your address.
Matthew Tucker with BHC 165 South Rock Island, agent for the applicant. We're fine with the staff comments and the access control adjustments. To touch on the drainage plan, I've been in contact with their design team, and they intend to have the county what they need for the drainage today. There were two small items, or actually it was one comment with the county about lake ownership and property lines. We're going to get I don't know if you can remember, but lot 4 and 5, they were kind of the southeast lots on that plat. And we're going to adjust the north line of those down so that the spillway, the dam, and everything is all clearly under one ownership to address some county concerns there. But other than that, we don't have any concerns or objections with the staff comments. I'll stand for questions.
Questions from the commission members for the applicant? Seeing none, thank you. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on this? Seeing none, go ahead, Phil.
So just a reminder to the board, just with in past times of where we have unfinished items and whether or not they're going to be accomplished between now and next week, I just remind the board that this is a preliminary plat to where the drainage plan issue, like it's not going to planning commission next week. So essentially a final plat will be submitted at some point once they get all the items kind of fixed and finalized, and they'll submit a final plat for review by the subdivision. So today it could be moved for approved subject to these items getting fixed, knowing they have a final plat coming.
Okay. Back to the commission.
Mr. Chairman, move to approve for staff comments with the understanding that the items that are not completed will be completed and will receive the waivers.
And waivers too.
And waivers, and have a final plat that would come for us.
Okay. Yes.
Did we ask for public comment? Thanks.
I have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. I have a motion by Commissioner Johnson and a second by Commissioner Duell. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. Next case is subdivision 2024-57, one-step final plat for the Schumard Oak Second Edition, located east along South 295th Street West and 1/3 mile south of West 47th Street South. It's in the county. Is the applicant, okay, go ahead with the staff report.
Hopefully they'll get the screen up, but you all should have a copy of the plat in front of you. Greg Sharon, planning staff, here to present subdivision 2457, Schumann Oak Second Edition. This is a one-step final plat for a 3-lot subdivision in the county. On the plat, there are access controls indicated along 295th Street with 170-foot opening. Proposed lots 1 and 2 will be accessed via the proposed platted West 49th Street court. Access to lot 3 will be via proposed 40-foot joint access easement located adjacent and to the south of this lot. So you should be able to see an easement on the south of the plat of that lot. Waivers. The applicant is requesting a modification waiver of depth to width ratio for lots 1 and 2. Go through staff comments. Item A, MABCD. This is currently located within Rural Water District Number 4. Feasible and available, recommend connection. If not, a memo. Soils work has been completed and a memo has been submitted. Item B, County Stormwater Management. The drainage plan was submitted along with the submittal of this plat. I don't know, has that been updated? Okay, so I just got word that it has been approved, and maybe, so the drainage plan has been approved. Item C, county fire plat will need to comply with county service drive code. Item D, county public works advises the applicant shall guarantee the closure of existing driveway closure certificate is needed, and advises to show the recording data for the 40-foot joint access easement south of lot 3. GIS approves of the street cul-de-sac name. Item F, planning comments. The recorded data for easement needs to be shown. Platter's text regarding access control needs to be stated. Revised utility and drainage easement language and Platter's text. Signatures need to be revised. Floodway note needs to be on the final plat, and preliminary plat needs to include adjacent subdivision owners and zoning. Item G, county surveying has no comment. Item H, Evergy commented that the plat is outside of Evergy territory, no transmission lines in the area, but they are not in the platted area and there's no conflict. Item A, Sedgwick County Electric Co-op has reviewed the preliminary plat and will need to request additional easements, and those have been forwarded to the agent. So with that, I will stand for questions.
Questions from commission members on this plat? Okay. Comments from the advisory board?
Rondi with Evergy. This is outside service territory for us. It's served by Sedgwick County Rural Electric Co-op.
I have a question for Evergy. If you're not available here, who is? I mean, will you be available to this plat?
No. It's Sedgwick County Rural Electric Co-op.
Okay, so,
We have several split subdivisions.
okay.
Recording in progress.
Any other comments from the advisory board? Okay. Call on the applicant or agent. Have 10 minutes. Please state your name and address.
Morning, Dan Garber with Garber Surveying Service, 2908 North Plum Street in Hutchinson and 544 West Douglas in Wichita. On behalf of the applicant and owner, and we are in agreement with all the staff comments. I would stand for any questions.
Okay, questions from commission members? See none. Thank you very much. Anyone from the public would like to speak on this case? All right. Bring it back to the commission. What's your desire?
Mr. Chairman, I'll move to approve, including the waiver per staff comment.
Okay.
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Klontz with a second by Commissioner Johnson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It passes 5-0. Our next case is subdivision 2024-58. It's a one-step final plat for the Greenwich Apartments Edition, located east along North Greenwich Road and within 1/2 mile north of East 37th Street North. It is in the city. Is the applicant or agent available before we go? Okay, thank you. Staff report?
Good morning. Greg Sharon, planning staff, here to present the Greenwich Apartments Edition. I don't know if there it is. So if it's next screen if available to go to the plat. So this is a one-step final plat located in the city for one lot multifamily subdivision. This subdivision is associated with Zone 2451, which is a zone change from LI, Limited Industrial, to MF18, Multifamily Residential. As you can see on the plats, the complete access controls are along North Greenwich Road with one 81-foot opening at the middle of the property and one 40-foot opening at the north of the property. There are no waivers requested by the applicant. Staff comments, City Public Works and Utilities advises plat is inside Wichita water and service territory. There's water line available connecting. Fees are due, sanitary sewer, main, acquisition fees, equity fees are owed if and when connecting to city Wichita sanitary sewer. Sanitary sewer main will need to be extended from the south corner of 37th Street and Greenwich before the plat can be served, and request a no protest agreement for water and sewer. Item B, City Stormwater Management has approved the drainage plan. Item C, County Stormwater Management has approved of the drainage plan. Item D, standard comment regarding verification of hydrants. And City Fire also notes that multifamily residential projects with more than 100 dwelling units shall be equipped with 2 separate and approved fire apparatus access roads. Item E, traffic engineering approves of the right-of-way dedications and access, and states that Greenwich Road is Sedgwick County's jurisdiction, but city traffic supports the request for the right-in, right-out turn lanes on Greenwich Road. Item F, County Public Works state that access controls are deferred to the City of Wichita standards and approved. Item and request auxiliarily left and right turn lanes. Item G, environmental health shows city and water available. Standard comment regarding properly installed and permitted irrigation wells. Item H, planning, just needs signature revised for the clerk. Item I, county surveying has no comments. And item J, Evergy has reviewed this preliminary plat and will need to request additional easements. Those have been forwarded to agent. So with that, I will stand for questions.
Okay, questions from commission members on this case? Seeing none. Comments from the advisory board?
Rondi, with Evergy, we will be requesting additional easements to serve the apartments.
Chris with Wichita Public Works. We have some water pressure issues in this area, so I just want to make sure you're aware of that and that you check into it before you get too far along.
Other comments? All right, we'll call on the applicant or agent. We'll have 10 minutes. State your name and address.
Morning, Phil Meyer with Boffman Company, agent for the applicant. 315 Ellis is the address. This property has been annexed into the city of Wichita, which was in the staff report. I was verifying that with engineering and sewer and water, since it's not yet shown up on the maps as city property. So we're in agreement with staff comments. We want to continue to work with the engineering on some of their requirements for the outside the city of Wichita sewer and water agreements probably aren't necessary. Matt and I are still working on whether they need no protest agreements or not. We fully plan to extend sewer and water to the site. We need it. So we'll just continue to work with them and provide them whatever requirements they have. With that, I'll answer any questions you may have.
Okay. Questions from the commission members to the applicant? All right, seeing none, thank you. Does anyone from the public wish to speak on this case? All right, seeing none, I'll bring it back to the commission. What's your pleasure?
Move to approve for staff comments.
Second.
Okay. I have a motion by Commissioner Williams Bay and a second by Commissioner Klontz. All in favor, say aye. 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 Opposed? Passes 5-0.
I'm going to abstain since I didn't hear all of the
Okay.
comments that were made.
4-0 with one abstention. Okay. We'll move on to Subdivision 2024-59. It's a one-step final plat for the Indian Ridge at Andale Second Edition. It's located on the southeast corner of West 37th Street North and North 247th Street West. It is located in the county. Is the applicant or agent available on this? Okay. We will hear the staff report.
Good morning, Greg Sharon, planning staff, here to present the Indian Ridge at Andale Second Edition. This is a one-step final plat for a 26-lot subdivision in the county. If this plat looks familiar, it is because it was reviewed earlier this year but was denied. And the applicant has resubmitted the plat as a new subdivision case, so therefore it will be reviewed as a completely new case. If you go to the plat, please. Okay. This plat denotes complete access controls with two 30-foot openings and one 70-foot opening along 37th Street North and one 70-foot street opening along North 27th Street. The applicant has platted 50-foot front setbacks for all lots and 50-foot street setbacks for Lot 1, Block 2, and Lots 14 and 15, Block 1, which represents adjustment of the zoning code of 30 feet front setback and 20-foot street side setback for rural residential districts. Waivers, there's applicant requests waiver of depth to width ratio for lots 3, block 2, and lot 3, block 1. Go through staff comments. Item A, MABCD states that since neither sewer or water is available, they shall contact the department to find out what tests necessary and what standards are to met for approval on site for sewage and water. Memo shall be obtained. Soil works has been completed. Item B, county stormwater management. It is my understanding that they have received, but there are just a couple of issues that need to be worked out. Is that correct?
I got word from, there's a drainage easement, so
Okay.
It's approved.
Okay, so that is approved with the addition of the easement. County Fire states that streets and cul-de-sac will need to comply with the International Fire Code. Item D, County Public Works states access controls are approved along 247th and 37th Street. County Public Works requests 75 foot of access controls along both sides of Tribal Street at the west and north end, and approves of street connection to the south and east. Item E, GIS does not approve of the street names because it does not comply with their street standards naming conventions. Item F, Planning Department, there are some platters text that need to be included, and also signatures that need to be revised. Item G, County Surveying, states easements for lots 4 and 5 needs to state that is by separate instrument, and the center line of Warren Street needs to be located along Tribal Street. Item H, Evergy, this applies outside Evergy territory. There are transmission lines near the area, but they are not in the platted area, and there is no conflict. Item I, Sedgwick County Electric Co-op has reviewed this plat and will need to request additional easements, and those have been forwarded to the agent. So with that, I will stand for questions.
Okay, questions from Commission? Yes, Commissioner Williams Bay.
Could I get clarification on item E? It says, per our addressing standards, street names should not be considered inappropriate regarding race, color, sex, religion, national origins, ancestry, disabilities, or regarding general offenses such as death. Oh, explain that, please. Are you saying that those names are inappropriate and you want them changed, or what are you saying?
According to GIS, they're inappropriate and they want them changed. So
Yeah, it's GIS's call, and
Right.
we're just forwarding the comment on. It's per GIS naming standards, and we're just forwarding the comment on. So it's not Greg's review. GIS gave him that comment. It's their standards for naming conventions.
Other questions from the commissioners? Comments from the advisory board? Hearing none. Call on the applicant or agent. I have 10 minutes, and state your name and address again, Phil.
Phil Meyer with Boffman Company, 315 Ellis. Here is agent on this project. This is a unique one, probably new for me. I haven't done this before, but I am agent for the developer on this. The surveyor is still Smith & Oaks. The engineer is still ASM Engineering. They will be completing the plats. We submitted the same plat that they had turned in previously that's Planning Commission denied, so there is some updates that are necessary. We basically are in agreement with staff comments. With our drainage plan that the county has approved, we owe them some expanded easements on lots 1 through 5 here, which will make happen. And we'll agree to that. So this needs to be 55, this one needs to be 50, and that's not an issue. GIS, so we're using the names Tribal Street and Warrior. and they're saying those names are inappropriate. My answer is, it's fine. We will work with GIS to come up with some names that they feel appropriate. So we're good with that. I'm basically good with staff comments. What I passed out and presented to you today, so when the developer came to us and said, hey, can you help us get this thing approved? We sat down and looked at it. We reviewed the planning subdivision committee and planning commission's concerns the first time. I suggested to them that they needed to go out and dig some more wells. They had one well dug the first time they brought this through, and that's well number 1 on the second page of that exhibit. So we went out and we dug well 2 and well 3 on this property. Then we talked about the very first page you're looking at. What are some things they can offer to help ease the concerns of the Planning Commission? And so they have this restrictive covenant that they sign and the buyer signs. And it's a 6-8 page document that covers everything about the subdivision. And in paragraph 6, we're going to add 3 things to that paragraph that we think will help. 1, there's going to be a release of purchase obligation requirement if there's a well that is dug that produces under 10 gallons per minute. So if we dig a well on this site, if they dig it before they purchase it, they're released from the purchase if it only produces 5 gallons a minute or 9 or whatever, under 10. And if they've already bought it, the developer will buy it back from them if it produces less than 10. That's in the red. The blue part is reducing the amount of area. These are 2-acre lots or greater. So we're limiting the amount of area around the house that can be cool season grass and be irrigated. Even if it's warm season, we're limiting the amount of area that can be irrigated around the drive and around the house. And then the green one, the bottom one, is a strong recommendation by the developer that the homeowner consider putting in a water softener and a reverse osmosis system with the well. So with that, the 3 wells that we dug, well 1 at 80 foot deep is producing 25 gallons per minute. Well 2 at 130 foot deep is producing 20 gallons per minute, and well 3 at 140 foot deep is producing 20 gallons per minute. So all of those 3 wells are providing adequate water, in my opinion, to serve a subdivision. With that, I'm probably going to stop and answer any questions you may have.
I have a question on one of the waivers is for lot 3, block 2, which I can't find. It looks like there's only 2 lots on block 2.
Yeah, but I wouldn't argue that point. We'll work with Greg and find out exactly which lot he meant that to be on the waiver.
Other questions from the commission members? Okay, thank you, Phil. Anyone from the public wish to speak on this case? Please state your name and address. You'll have 3 minutes.
My name is Doug Wager. I live at 24327 West 37th Street North, this in the center of the development. The questions I got that I was looking for some answers for on this round is in regards to my property and the storm drainage. Essentially, this is the top of the hill, and it drains to the west, it drains to the east. with the new properties going around, is there any sort of restrictions to the purchaser to prevent blockage? That I don't want to have water backed up on here. In regards to the size of the lots, with a well, there's usually a 50-foot separation from that and the engineered sewer system. I've told we're not doing lagoons on these properties, that they're all the engineered systems. I was wondering if there was a size, a footprint of the buried system, the size of the engineered system, the separation from the well, the size of the houses and outbuildings and stuff. How does all that get located and verified? I've got a lagoon in this corner of my property. Is that going to be an issue with the adjacent properties? In regards to the roads to the development, it states in the write-up under the items needed along with Mylar number 3, the applicant should guarantee the paving of proposed interior streets. The adjacent properties, we would like this development to have paved roads because just to deter the additional traffic that we're expected to see on the 37th Street. It's a dirt road. It gets washboarded with just the limited traffic we have right now. If this road does become an issue with the additional traffic, are there any plans to pave 37th up into the entry point? Who pays for that? In regards to the additional wells being added, done, my property and the adjacent properties, when wells were being drilled, they hit at around 86 feet a layer of shale that once they poked through, everything below that tested so high in sulfate, it wasn't usable water. The fact that test well 2 and 3 were drilled at 130 feet, they pumped unusable water for this development. That I don't know if they actually tested the quality of it to see if it was drinkable or usable. But I know there's water down there, but to my knowledge, we're limited to how far we can go down before we can actually, we can't use it anymore.
Your time is up, but I can give you one more minute if you need it.
That's just it. That's my only concern. The number of houses, 26 properties, 26 wells. If that water isn't actually usable, then we're back to the same place we were before, where the amount of irrigation and usage and stuff, my concern is that we'll deplete the available water and it'll be a health and safety issue for the existing neighbors.
Are there any questions for the applicant? Or I'm sorry, the public comments. Can you use the microphone, please?
I'd like to address some of his comments from Public Works, if that's okay.
Sure.
Okay. As far as paving the interior roads, I think paving is a poor choice of word in this case. I think it's more constructing or surfacing the streets. If the applicant chooses, they can construct those of gravel if they don't do them by special assessment. So paving is a poor choice of word in that case. The paving of 37th Street, we do have paving requirements set forth by the number of lots. The applicant has purposely chosen, and the way that they've laid it out is so that those requirements are not met on 37th Street. So I just wanted to address your comments there.
So what's a description of a paved road? What are we looking at?
Well, a paved road is typically an asphalt road. In this case, if the applicant chooses to construct a gravel road or a sand road or, unpaved road, that's their choice. They just can't do it by special assessment. They would be 100% responsible for that.
So a gravel road is like every other dirt road out in the county?
Yes.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. The applicant or agent will have 2 minutes.
There might be some other speakers.
Sorry. Please state your name and address, and you will have 3 minutes.
Excuse me, Jared Schneider, 3400 North 247th Street West. I'm co-owner with this property. that lies to the south of this application are a couple concerns on drainage that I seen the plat or the drainage map we had right here on lot, what is that, lot 9. We have 2 terraces flowing into that field, off of our field into there. So they're going to put this easement. There's, as far as I seen, there is no drainage plan or nothing saying what that slope is going to be, because there's about a 6 to 8 foot drop in probably 150 feet. So I want to know on this 30-foot easement, they have to open that up and get water all the way down the edge of this field. There was a ton of water on that last rain that flows all the way down through those 2 terraces, drops into that. So if we take those out, we're going to be left with a large drop off. They need to put the structures on their property, because that's what we have to do when we terrace a field or do anything. We have to put structures to drop to not erode the ground or not erode the soil away from it. If they just cut it in there with a bulldozer in the first rain, we're going to have the Grand Canyon starting here. And then who's responsible for that? So as far as I'm concerned, they shouldn't do any detrimental damage to my side of the property that I have to continue to deal with in the future. I'm a little confused why we have a Reserve A here. And I asked that question the last time and nobody could answer. Why are we not putting these easements in a reserve? That way, when I have problems up against this field, I don't have to sit there and go against 7 people on the edge of the property. I want to get a hold of one person, whether they HOA it or whether DET still owns it. But if I go in there and they start causing damage and don't get this done and I have erosion, I'm going to see you in court. Well, I'm not going to take 10 different property owners to court. I'm taking one person. So that's just my biggest complaint. On the water, we drilled ourselves a test well. We did put an application in with the Department of Water through the state of Kansas on an irrigation well. We drilled a 60-foot well. The well driller said the profile was very similar to their test wells, shale, red clay. He said without viable sand there's not enough perforation to supply enough water to do anything, even with a battery of wells. So he did not recommend that we move forward with it. So this was drilled, I think June area when we were in a drought. There was very little water, even static water in there. And that is why he said, don't keep wasting your time. So that's about everything. So I think that was just our drainage questions. So,
questions for this speaker? Thank you. Any other speakers from the public? State your name and address, please. You'll have 3 minutes.
I'm Mark Vaughn. I live at 24220 West 37th, which is roughly right there. Just one thing, looking at these well reports, these two of these wells that were recently drilled, the static water level is well below the level that my pump even sits at. And another thing is these test wells were dug after the 8-inch rain we had and tested. So that kind of leaves me concerned that that's a valid test. Also, looking at the covenants, how would these be enforceable? Someone moves in and says, I don't need to do this. I'll just pump it. I'll pump as much water as I can. And, Doug goes dry at that point. How's that enforced? And any questions?
Okay, questions for this speaker? Thank you, sir. Any other speakers from the public? Okay, we'll bring it back to the agent. And you'll have 2 minutes for rebuttal.
I'll try to do this in 2 minutes and answer as many of their questions as I can. And Scott Lindeback, the drainage engineer for the county's here, so if I say something he disagrees with, he can throw his arm up and we're good with that. But Mr. Winokur's lot right here drains off on us. It does that today. We cannot do anything to prevent that from continuing to drain onto us, so we're going to have to accept his water. The MABCD, Tim Wagner is here. The county has got standards for how we place wells on each lot and where, and on-site sewer systems. So we'll meet his requirements lot by lot as we go through there, and there will be no impact to Mr. Winokur's lot on his existing well or sewer system as we do that. We're going to build a rock road in this subdivision. I would say it's a little better than the dirt roads are driving on 30, out here today, in that it's a higher standard road that the county requires in this rock road, and it's a newer system than what's on those arterials. I don't know how to address, and we can talk to Tim about Mr. Wagner's concern about the water not being good under 80 feet. Our reverse osmosis system should take care of that. If there's an issue, I can tell you that the county requires with every well a nitrate and a bacteria test to make sure that the water's good as they drill those wells. So there is a check system in place for that with the county. And again, if there's a well dug and the water's no good in it, we're approaching that just like the under 10 gallons a minute. They'll buy the lot back from somebody. Drainage concerns, our drainage plan is approved. As we construct this, from my past experience, give me 1 minute and I'll try to be quick. My past experience with the county.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
They do a good job of going out and inspecting these projects as they're built and making sure they meet all their standards. And if something's not built to their standards, then they're having the contractor and the developer fix that before they approve the construction of the road. And the drainage is part of that system, road system. Restrictions are enforced. So these are developer restrictions, and they're enforced just like any other HOA in Wichita or Sedgwick County, and ultimately resolved in court if there's an issue that you're not honoring the restrictions. So with that, I'll be glad to answer any questions that the subdivision committee has.
Mr. Duell?
Yes, these wells, are they being drilled for irrigation, or is it potable water for human consumption?
It's potable water for human construction, and it could be for a well, or it could be for an irrigation system, but through our covenants, we're limiting the amount of grass that can be irrigated.
Other questions? Thank you. Let's bring it back to the commission. What's your desire here? Yes, Commissioner Johnson.
I got a question of staff. I agree with what Phil's first statement was. This has kind of been an unusual case. I think it started out with 56 lots, if I remember right. And then they reduced it to this, and we went through, I don't know how many commission members were on the previous cases, but it got down to the water deal, wanting more wells drilled. They went ahead and did that, so I moved to approve for staff comments.
Just for clarification, the waiver, that should be...
Yeah, the waiver also.
That should be Lot 3, Block 3, and not Block 2.
Oh, okay.
Just for clarification.
For the motion?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Johnson and a second by Commissioner Duell. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
No.
Passes 3-2. Moving on. Next case is subdivision 2024-60. One-step final plat, Garen's Acres Edition, located at the southeast corner of South Mays Road and West 55th Street South. It's in the county 3-mile ring. Is the applicant or agent present here. Okay, thank you. Go ahead, staff report.
Good morning, Greg Sharon, planning staff. If I go next screen. It's located on southeast corner of 55th and Mays. This is for a 3-lot residential subdivision in the county, but within the 3 miles of Wichita. Next screen, please. This subdivision plat on the screen. There are complete access controls with 2 40-foot openings which provide access to lots 2 and 3. Are provided along South Mays Road, and access controls with 1 40-foot opening provides access to lot 1 along West 55th Street South. There are no waivers requested. Staff comments. MABCD note soil work needed before approval memo was issued. Item B, Public Works and Utilities requested no protest agreement for water and sewer and request a 20-foot utility easement. Item C, County Stormwater Management, they have approved the site plan, so that will be updated in the final staff report. Item D, County Fire states lots 1 and 3 will need to comply with the service drive code. Item E, County Public Works states access controls along Mays Road shall be dimensioned, and guarantee of closure of existing drive with a driveway closure certificate. Wichita Traffic Engineering states that is Sedgwick County, but it's within 3-mile ring of city limits, and city traffic is good with proposed right-of-way and access openings. Item G, planning comments, corrections to signatures, relabeling of roads. Preliminary plat needs to include property owners and zoning, and revisions to platter's text regarding drainage plan, and additional platter's text regarding lights, draining system, berms, and trash enclosures. Item H, county surveying has no comments. And item I, Evergy, distribution comments. Evergy has reviewed this preliminary plat and will not need to request additional easements. This is county plat, so no street light placement is needed. Transmission comments, there is a 69 kV line on the north end of the property, although it appears to be just north of the plat. Evergy Transmission has an easement just north of the property, and any use of the easement will be reviewed in final construction plans. So with that, I will stand for questions.
All right. Questions from commission members? Seeing none. Comments from the advisory committee?
Rondi with Evergy. We will provide the agent Tim Weiss's number in transmission engineering if you have any questions for him.
Any other comments? Okay, we'll call on the applicant or agent. Please state your name and address, and you have 10 minutes.
Yeah, good morning. Logan Mills, 1935 West Maple, with certified engineering design agent for the applicant. We're in agreement with all staff comments, and I'll stand for any questions.
Okay. Questions for the applicant or agent from the commission? Hearing none. Thank you. Anyone from the public wish to comment on this? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the commission members. I'll make a motion that we approve this with staff comments.
Second.
Okay, motion by Zimbelman, Commissioner, and second by Commissioner Johnson. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. All right, our last case today will be Subdivision 2024-62. One-step final plat, Dutch Acres Edition, located east side of North Hillside Avenue, within 1/2 mile of north of East 93rd Street North, and it's in the county. The applicant or agent available? He's over there? Okay. We'll have the staff report.
Good morning, Greg Sharon, planning staff, here to present Dutch Acres Edition. This is a, excuse me, one-step final plat for a two-lot subdivision located in the county. If you go to the next screen, please. And then the next screen. The lots will be accessed via 60-foot opening along North Hillside Avenue. There are no waivers requested by the applicant. Staff comments. MABCD notes that this is in Rural Water District Number 2, if available and feasible, shall be connected to Rural Water District. If not, a memo is needed, and they comment that advises that a memo is ready. Item B, County Stormwater Management. I did get word that they have approved the drainage plan for this plat. Item C, County Fire Department, Lot 1 will need to comply with Service Drive Code. Item D, County Public Works approves of the access controls and notes that the subdivision regulations generally discourages the use of flag lots. As you can see, flag lot is represented on Lot 2. Planning comments. 60-foot drainage along Hillside Avenue for Lot 2 does not meet the required minimum 200-foot frontage. Therefore, a platted setback on Lot 2 shall be established where the 200-foot frontage could be obtained. Hillside Avenue needs to be relabeled. Blocks revised to blocks and blocks revised to block. An owner certificate and the Rural Water District easement document number should be shown, and revisions to signature. Item F, county surveying, county clerk transfer signature needs added. Revisions to signature names. Item G, Evergy has reviewed the preliminary plat and will need to request additional easements. And this is a county plat, so no street light placement will be needed. So with that, I will stand for questions.
All right, questions for staff from the commission members? Hearing none. Comments from the advisory board?
Rondi with Evergy, no additional comment.
Okay, thank you. We will call on the applicant or agent. Please state your name, address, and you'll have 10 minutes.
Matthew Tucker, BHC, 165 South Rock Island Avenue, agent for the applicant. We are in agreement with requested changes in staff comments. Only real thing to note here on this is there was a note or a comment about a flag lot. We intentionally made this wide enough that any maintenance issues, easement runs, accessibility concerns for emergency vehicles would be addressed along this flag portion of the lot. It's 60 foot in width. We see platted lots in town that have narrower widths than that sometimes. So I'm not sure that there's a lot of issue that we might be creating with such a flag lot as this, given the size. Willing to stand for any questions or concerns.
Okay, questions for the agent from commission? Seeing none, thank you. Anyone from the public would like to comment on this case? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the commission. What's your desire?
Motion to approve per staff comment.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Klontz and seconded by Commissioner Williams-Bay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. Passes 5-0. Is there any other business to bring before the subdivision committee today? Yes.
Just a reminder with the upcoming holidays, our next subdivision committee meeting is not until January 2nd. So have a happy holidays and Merry Christmas. Well, we'll see you all next week, but we have 2 weeks off of meetings for subdivision and planning commission at the end of this month. So this is your last subdivision committee for December.
Thank you. Yes, Commissioner Johnson.
Is a pretty long agenda for next week?
Yes, sir.
So you're buying lunch or dinner or something?
It would be dinner and maybe breakfast. No.
Or refreshment?
Meeting adjourned.